Hi everybody, it's Laura from Green Tree, and today we are talking about curry. So curry is actually a word that covers a few different things. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of explain what we're talking about when we talk about curry. So a curry is typically a dish, a fully complete dish. Something like this Thai ginger curry, where you can see there's a sauce, there's seasonings, there's chunks, and this is something that you can eat on its own or with rice or naan, and this would be a curry. So that's kind of referring to a completed meal or food of some kind. Now there's also curry powder. Curry powder comes in a lot of different types and varieties, and it's a seasoning blend, and it's going to look something like this. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of curry powders in a minute, but this is a curry powder versus a curry. And then you can also get, from some regions, a curry paste, which is a little hard to see in the jar here, but it's very thick. It's similar to like a chili paste in texture, and it's kind of a concentrated flavoring, similar to, say, like a bouillon, you know, like a bouillon paste that you would use for making soups and that kind of thing. So you can have a curry, which is a dish, a curry powder, which is a seasoning blend, or a curry paste, which is another type of seasoning blend. They're all going to come out and give you different kinds of finished dishes. Now, when a lot of people think of curry, they think of India, but the truth is it's the entire Indian subcontinent and more. So that's where curry kind of started, but you also have curries from Africa, you have curries from Thailand, curries from the West Indies, Asian curries. For example, like I said, there's this Thai style, and there's an emphasis on ginger in this. You'll find a lot of Thai curries will contain coconut. So there's a huge variety in what types of flavors and consistencies you'll see in curries, depending on what part of the world or even region of a particular country they originate in. For example, Thai curries and other types of East Asian curries will often have a more soup-like consistency to them, where you can spoon them, or like a stew even, and they tend to be wet curries. Another thing that you'll find is if you want to make a wet curry, you're typically going to have a sauce of some kind. You can either have a pre-made sauce like this, you know, it's essentially the equivalent of something like a spaghetti sauce that you're going to add your chunks and bits to and put over a base of rice or flatbread, something similar. Or you can make your own. Some of the common liquids you would use if you were making a wet curry would include things like tomatoes, coconut oil, or rather not coconut oil, coconut milk. The type in a can, I didn't grab an example for you, not the kind you would pour over breakfast cereal. The stuff you want is about the thickness of heavy cream. Heavy cream would be another one if you were going to have a dairy curry base and you wanted a wet curry. You can also make a dry curry. It's essentially the same as with barbecue. You can have a dry rub barbecue, or you can have a wet saucy barbecue. And if you're going to do a dry curry, then you're doing something like the powdered curry blend, or maybe even a curry paste, and you're cooking out whatever extra liquid is expressed by the vegetables and meats that you're using during the process until the finished food is very dry and doesn't really have its own sauce. So, to go back to curry powders, so we talked about wet and dry. You can actually use a curry powder as a base for a wet or dry curry. Now there's a huge range of things that are in curry powders, but probably the three most common ingredients that you'll find in curry powders are turmeric root, which is this lovely bright yellow, very intense looking kind of powder. You can actually get turmeric root fresh as well, but it has kind of a mild, slightly spicy, earthy kind of flavor to it, and this is why so many curries have that yellowish or yellow-orange color to them. Is turmeric is in almost every single curry powder and curry recipe you're going to find. Not every single one. You can get green curries, but it's very common. Another thing that is super common in curries is cumin. These are whole cumin seeds. You may be more familiar with it as a powder. This is super frequently found in Indian cooking and also in Mexican dishes. It's got, I would describe it as like a savory, just a really savory, intense kind of flavor. When I smell it, the only way I can describe it is this is why tacos taste like tacos. That's cumin. But cumin is also an extremely common flavor in curries, and is part of the reason that curry powders taste like curry is cumin. So it's a common base across a lot of different regions. And then the third one that you're going to find really frequently in curries is coriander. So this is powdered coriander. Coriander is actually the seed of the cilantro plant, and this is a little bit, probably the lightest of the three flavors, of the three big flavors. It's more aromatic and almost herbal, or even a little bit floral, and it adds a whole other kind of a top note to the flavors that you're going to find in curries. So those are the three sort of base curry flavors that most of them start from, is turmeric, coriander, and cumin. Now, not every curry is spicy. A lot of people think curry and think spicy. Many, if not most, do have chilies in them, especially when you're getting into curry pastes. I have never come across a curry paste that wasn't spicy. They probably exist, but I haven't had one. And you can see, like, this one's very, very red because it's a chili-based curry paste. But it doesn't have to have that in it. You can adjust that spice level, especially if you make it yourself, to the degree that you like. Another common flavor you're going to see is ginger. Ginger is in a lot of different curry powders. So is cardamom. You'll see cinnamon and clove. And I tend to think of curries as spicy kind of curries versus spiced curries. And you can certainly have hot curries in both categories. But when I talk about spicy versus spiced, and this is very broad, there's so many different curries in the world, I'm going to show you an example of the difference. So this is Muchi curry powder. This is very yellow. It's got a lot of turmeric in it. So this one has turmeric, cumin, ginger, black pepper, coriander, fenugreek, which is a really interesting flavor too. If you've never tried fenugreek, that's a cool one to try. Garlic, celery seed, cloves, cayenne, caraway, white pepper, and mace. So this one has cloves and mace in it, and mace is that skin off the outside of a nutmeg, so that's more spiced. It has the similar kinds of seasonings that you would be using in something like gingerbread. And that gives it a very distinctive flavor. It's a little more aromatic and not quite as heavily savory. And then you can also get some, like this guy, which you can just tell is hotter because it's got more of that redness to it. It's not just the turmeric, you're having more chilies in this. And here we've got coriander, turmeric, mustard, cumin, fenugreek again, paprika, cayenne, cardamom, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves. So this one also has the spicy, or the hot element with some of the spiced element, but because it's so much hotter, you get more of that savory hot. And that's because it's got the cayenne, the paprika, and the cloves actually add some heat of their own, but the mustard is the thing that's really going to make it hot. So you can see the different blendings of flavors are going to give you a very different kind of finished dish. So I showed you the Thai curry that we have here, and of course you can get Indian, African, East Asian, all sorts of different kinds of curry bases. But this is not the only thing you can do with curry seasonings. You can also make some really interesting twists on classic American dishes if you want to do some fusion cuisine. One of the most popular ones that we do is this curry chicken salad. So you can see it's got a lot of yellow to it because this is a turmeric heavy, turmeric heavy curry powder that we're using in this. So it's very yellow but not very spicy. So we're taking a classic recipe with this chicken salad and we're giving that tweak by adding the curry flavor. So that's something you can do, like take a potato salad, take a chicken salad, take a vegetable medley and toss it in curry powder instead of your usual, say, Italian seasoning blend. And you're gonna get an entirely different flavor without really having to change much else about the recipe. Now it's also very snackable, especially the more savory curry powder blends. One of my favorite things that we have in the bulk department is Thai curry cashews. So this is a spicier curry powder that's on here, and it flavors these cashews. And the nice thing about cashews, which is the same reason they use coconut milk in a lot of curries, is it takes down the heat level. So you get a nice hit of that spicy heat when you bite into the cashew, and then the fatty creaminess of the nut calms it down so it doesn't overwhelm your taste buds. So you can get pretty creative with what you put these curry powders and curry seasonings on. Now finally, if you want to make your own, because they are variable across the whole world, like I said, there's many different kinds of curries, you can mix up your own spice blends. And I'm just going to give you a quick little tip on a few different ways you can tweak that flavor. So you can go ahead and just get all of your dry powdered spices and seasonings like this, and that's going to be a pretty classic flavor. Or you can go ahead and get whole spices like this, like the cumin seed or whole cloves, whole coriander seeds, and toast them a little before you grind them, and that's really going to amplify the flavor that you get in your curry base. And then the other thing you can do if you want to take it the opposite direction is take your mixture of different seeds and powdered spices and add fresh herbs to it, and you're going to get a much brighter and fresher tasting curry. Or use fresh peppers instead of dried when you're making your chili paste. Same, like dried garlic versus fresh garlic is going to give you a different flavor in your finished dish. So if you want to experiment, come down and check out the bulk herbs and spices section. We can give you some lists of things that are commonly in curries. Or, you could go the route of trying some of the powdered blends like the mochi curry, the pastes, or the actual liquid sauces, and try mixing these into some of your more traditional veggie blends and really sort of spice up all of that fresh produce we're going to be getting soon and make your summer flavors just a little more interesting. You might be the only one who shows up to the potluck with curried potato salad, but I bet everybody's going to try it. So there you go, that's your rundown on curry. Hopefully this very basic kind of run through helped you get a little more clarity on what curry is and isn't. If you want to try some of these, come on down. I'm going to be sampling them for the next hour and a half or so, and hopefully I will see you guys. In the meantime, have a great Tuesday. Bye.